Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Ramadan Storytime with Sister Marsha. I'm so glad that you could join me yet again for another one of these stories. I hope that your day has been going well. Today is Yom Jumar. It is Friday and it is the day that we meet in congregational prayer, that we hear a khutbah from one of the imams in the masjid. And so I hope that you all have had a chance to experience that today, and I hope that you learned something good. Tonight we are going to read another story from the My First Quran Storybook series. And remember, those are published by Good Word Books, and the author is Sunny Yasmin Khan. Tonight we're going to learn about the Prophet Isa. And for those of you who are not familiar, the Prophet Isa is Jesus, alayhi salam. And remember that we've been learning that means upon him be peace. And so tonight's story is entitled The Prophet Isa and the Miracle of the Feast. Let's jump into our story. My First Quran Storybook, the best treasured stories from the Quran. The Prophet Isa and the Miracle of the Feast. The story of the Prophet Isa, alayhi salam, is full of miracles. It also begins with a miracle. Isa's mother, Maryam, was staying in Jerusalem in the shrine of Allah. One day, an angel appeared before her. He said, "You will have a holy son." And everything happened as the angel said it would. Isa was just a tiny baby when he began to talk like the grown-ups. He said to the people of the village, "I am a servant of Allah. I am his prophet." When the Prophet Isa, alayhi salam, grew up, he performed many more miracles with the leave of Allah. And that means like with God's permission. He made little birds of clay and made them fly like real birds. He made a blind man see again. He restored dead men to life. It was Allah who helped Isa to perform all these miracles. Allah loved him and looked after him. The Prophet Isa had many disciples. They went everywhere with the Prophet Isa. They traveled from village to village and from town to town. So Isa must have been very special that he had such influence that many people followed him. In every village or town, the Prophet Isa stopped for a while to teach people about Allah. He told people how to love Allah and pray to him. One day, the Prophet Isa was traveling with his disciples as usual. It was already evening. They were tired and sat in the field. They were also hungry, but they had no food with them. One of the disciples said to the Prophet Isa, "Isa, son of Maryam, can your Lord send down to us from heaven a table spread with food?" The Prophet Isa did not like his words. He said to him, "Fear Allah if you are a true believer." But the disciples ignored his words. They insisted, We want to eat some food sent from heaven by Allah. The Prophet Isa said to Allah, "Send down to us from heaven a table spread with food that shall be for us a festival, the first and last of us, and a sign from you. And provide for us, you are the best provider." Allah said, "I am sending you a table spread with food, but I will punish you if you do not believe me after this. I will punish you more than any man has been punished ever before." And there we see the table spread that the disciples requested. I wonder if they're going to believe in Allah after this miracle. Let's find out. And there's a picture of the city. Isa alayhi salam was a prophet of Allah. He taught people how to love Allah. But in the end, only a few people followed the Prophet Isa. Only some people saw the signs of Allah. There were some wicked people who disliked the Prophet Isa so much that they wanted to kill him. But Allah saved him and took him up to heaven. The wicked people thought that they had killed the Prophet Isa, but they had killed another man by mistake. Allah looks after his messengers. He looked after the Prophet Isa and saved him from his enemies. The Prophet Isa continued his mission for several years, but only a few answered his call. The children of Israel wanted to crucify him, but Allah saved him, and they crucified another man who was made to appear like him. And that is our story for this evening. Thank you so much for joining me for Ramadan Storytime with Sister Marsha. Again, our stories come from the My First Quran Storybook series. And this one that we read tonight was titled The Prophet Isa and the Miracle of the Feast. And we learned that the people wanted Allah to send down to them food from heaven, and Allah, because it felt like a challenge, right, to prove who Allah was. Allah said, after this, you better believe in me or you're going to be punished. And so this teaches us a story about faith and belief, and being sincere in that, and not having to challenge God to show us things in order to have that belief, but for us to be firm in knowing that Allah is God. Thank you so much for joining me again tonight for this Ramadan Storytime story. I hope that you join me for the next story. We have just a few short days left of Ramadan. It is coming to a close, but it has been a wonderful time, even just reading these stories to you. Have a good rest of your evening. Enjoy the last few days in Ramadan, and I hope to see you back here again tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Ramadan Mubarak.